Hello golfers, this is a post about golf instruction based on an individual's needs. It is widely believed that golf instruction should be based on individual differences. Do you agree? So, what type of individual differences do golfers have, and how should golf instruction address each one? Differences can be obvious, like anthropometric ones that relate to measurements and proportions. Such differences include height, weight, segment size, such as upper arm versus forearm length, hand size, and much more. Then there can be functional differences, which refer to, for instance, range of motion of joints based on an individual's structural differences at both the skeletal and muscular levels. For instance, some may not have the range of motion at the hip joint that the golf swing requires. Functional differences can also refer to a person's muscle physiology. Differences can be gender based and refer to how women and men should swing the golf club differently. Differences can also be biomechanical because golfers might use their purchase with the ground and their movements across the ground in a variety of ways. Differences can be in learning style, which means while most golfers like to see what their swing should look like because they are visual learners, others need to hear instruction or be put into specific positions because they are auditory or kinesthetic learners. And finally, golfers can be very, very different with respect to the combination of positions and movements they currently use to make their particular golf swing. So, given all these many differences, how can it be decided how a golfer might make meaningful swing changes in order to improve performance and, in many cases, to reduce injury risk? A meaningful change, of course, being one that gives the golfer better distance, direction, or trajectory. I believe all swing changes should first be based on the commonalities between golfers, or rather between all humans. Those commonalities are with respect to the anatomy or design of human joints. Not their range of motion, but what they are actually designed to do, and thus what they should be allowed to do in the golf swing. Keep in mind, if a joint is placed in a position it is not designed to work from, it cannot bend and straighten or rotate well in the downswing and can result in both inconsistent performance and even injury. To tell a golfer to change this position or that movement is useless and dangerous unless there are muscles that can move a joint in a desired direction and that direction is within the capabilities of the joint to move in. After the commonalities of the human body's design have been addressed, then one can focus on individual differences. Otherwise, there is too much information from which one can pull a few items and expect to help a golfer to make a meaningful swing change. And most of those individual difference based changes cannot work consistently unless the design of the human body has been taken into account. Here are a few very specific examples. Let's start with the X factor, where the thoracic spine is required to turn excessively during the backswing compared to the lumbar spine. The thorax or rib cage area has maximum rotary range of motion and one can really twist it up a lot. But the lumbar vertebrae below have a very different design and cannot. So, how can one twist one part of the spinal column against another? Not easily nor safely. Of course, the backswing twist can be made somehow. However, can all the twisted muscles that have twisted individual vertebrae untwist in a specific sequence for the downswing? That is very difficult, especially given that the human brain allocates very limited resources for movement of the trunk. Moreover, the only muscles that can unrotate the thoracic spine vertebra by vertebra, as it was twisted back that way, and see the creases on the shirt to understand what I'm talking about, are the tiny multifidi and tinier rotatories muscles, which really have a more stabilizing role. However, there are other muscles that can be used to unrotate the body from the top of the backswing. They are the glutes or muscles of the butt, and the trail side external rotators of the butt can be used to rotate the trail side hip towards target. There are also the external and internal obliques at the front of the torso which can be used. The problem with using the trail side hip external rotator muscles to rotate the pelvis are many, including that the main muscle of the glutes, the gluteus maximus, can exert 71% of its force in the horizontal plane. However, at the top of most golf swings, the pelvis is not level. So, how can horizontal plane motion of the pelvis begin? You will see that all pros have to make some move to level the hips, usually some type of squat on the right side, before they can rotate efficiently. And during that time, the upper body might start rotating, and weight shift might not take place early enough in the downswing, which can often result in a less than perfect impact. Now, the obliques are much better suited to the job of downswing rotation because we have them on both sides, so both sides of the torso can be used to generate force rather than generating it mainly from the trail side glutes. However, these muscles have vertical and horizontal fibers. So, when the torso is oblique at the top with the trail side higher, the more vertical fibers will pull the torso down rather than the fibers that are more horizontal pulling the torso around. All this information indicates that the parts of the spine should not be separated during the backswing, and the torso, including the pelvis and shoulders, should remain fairly horizontal throughout the backswing. When the pelvis is angled at the top, the downswing movement is complex not only from a performance perspective but also from an injury one, because when the oblique pelvis cannot immediately begin to rotate during the downswing, the lumbar spine may take over the role of rotation, which increases risk for low back pain. Now look at the trail wrist. When a golfer is told to cock the wrists, that movement requires the wrists to bend towards the thumb side. However, it is not possible, especially when the two hands are connected at the grip, as in golf, to make a purely thumbward bend, which is known as radial deviation, without also bending the trail wrist backwards, which means extending it. That extension causes the forearm to pronate and the upper arm to internally rotate, especially in a closed kinetic chain when the hands are linked at the grip. Put together, all this results in the trail arm being internally rotated at the top, a position from which it is very difficult to drop the arms and club shaft back and allow them to arrive at the ball from the inside. Now let's look at the knee joint. The lead knee has historically been put into a position where it bends and points behind the golf ball at the top of the backswing. Such a position may be referred to in anatomy as a dynamic valgus position. It is a difficult position to undo during the short time period of the downswing because it comprises combined motions of the thigh, the knee, and the ankle, all of which must simultaneously move out of the way for the descending and rotating trail side leg and trail side of the body. One research paper states a good lead knee should be in a position where all interconnected muscles of the leg and torso should have some mutual tension. Without the rubber band like tension, say the authors, efficient propulsion of the body's segments, which helps in their stabilization, will not occur. Without that tension, velocity of the movement can be lost. The dynamic valgus position is also a risk for injury for some of the ligaments of the knee joint. Keep in mind, these are just a few examples, and to make a beneficial change in any golfer who is human, It is vital to look at every single joint and see which ones are being positioned to favor their natural capabilities and which are being compromised. It is essential to assess the anatomical possibility of every desired movement first in order to effect any meaningful golf swing improvement.